the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Traumatized, a love story, no other than Mr. Michael Stone. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Michael, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, thank you, Daniel. It's good to be with you. I'm in California. I'm not sure where you are, but I just have a new book out called Traumatized, a Love Story, Healing the Wounds That Separate, Alienate, and Marginalize. I'm turning 80 next month, and I've been working in the healing profession pretty much all my life as both a corporate consultant, corporate shrink. I also am on the faculty of the Shift Network and been teaching courses for over 50 years. And I'm very passionate about getting people trauma informed, trauma integrating, and creating a world of post-traumatic healing. So that's enough about me. I can tell you more about the book. It comes out of, I'm kind of a trauma poster child in a way. Both my parents were at Pearl Harbor. My father was a fighter pilot. My mother was in the Women's Air Force, and they were in the middle of the bombing. I was born shortly after, and both my parents were heavily impacted by the war. And my father got very introverted, and my mother became mentally ill. At 2.5, I found her hanging from the ceiling. She had committed suicide. I've had many, many large traumas. My dog, when I was 7, was hung. I found him on the fence, so a second hanging. And when my daughter was 4, I was my daughter was my wife. Her mother was raped and murdered, and that case was unsolved for over 40 years. And in that time, I was under suspicion, not by the police, but by other people. And so I was living in Canada, and I got a call a couple of years ago that they're reopening the case. They were able to use DNA evidence and put the person away, who is now serving life without parole. But all of that is in the book, but it's more a book about healing. Most people that read my book say they could relate to everything that was said. So, yep, that's the book, and it's available on Amazon. I think it's on sale right now, even. So it's really a book about healing, and particularly healing trauma.
Mr. Michael Stone, thank you so much for 80 years on Earth, giving us inspiration and empowering us through your book. Why frame trauma healing as a love story? How does this disrupt traditional trauma narratives?
That's a good question. So most people look at trauma as a disease, a pathology, or a brokenness, something to get rid of. But what I've learned through many years of working in the field is that trauma is an evolutionary impulse, an intelligence of the nervous system that for millions of years has been evolving in order to protect us in overwhelming situations. So this book is about a different lens of looking at trauma as an intelligence rather than that something's broken, and looking at how to connect with those parts that get fragmented, dissociated, and they turn into numbness and tension, and that gets lodged in the body. So traumatized is really about somatic healing, working with the emotions in the body as opposed to talk therapy. This is an opportunity for people to reclaim their wholeness. So trauma can start very early. It can start as mine started in utero, and a lot of our early developmental, our early mental developmental occurs in utero and in the first couple of years of life. So if you go to the very beginning of life, we need to be felt, seen, heard, held, and protected in order to evolve into a healthy human being. And if we didn't get that from our caregiver, our mother, we weren't seen and held and protected and loved, then we have to later on figure out how to give that to ourselves to get that. So in this book, it's both a personal story, it's reflections on my own trauma, which are great. And it is also a healing book with every chapter has my story, my reflections, and then ways to heal and integrate this trauma. So most people, in spite of the big trauma I have, most people who read this book have said that they could relate to everything. They related to the fear and the loneliness and the sense of not belonging and not being enough and all of these areas that are symptoms of trauma. Because trauma, we don't realize it, but we're all traumatized. There's no one that is without trauma. If it's not personal, it's ancestral, it's collective, it's geographic, it's, immigration, historic, all of these different ways. We carry that in our body. And some of it's passed down through many generations that we epigenetically pick up these traumas. So the work that I do is create a safe container for people to not get rid of, but to integrate that trauma by feeling the wounding that is lodged in the body. So it's really a healing process. I take people through different aspects of healing. So that's what the book is about, and it's doing quite well right now.
Congratulations, Mr. Michael. Keep up the good work. In what ways can love dismantle systems designed to alienate and marginalize?
Well, first you have to look at what love is. So we use love. I love my wife. I love my car. I love popcorn, and I love my dog, and I love the woods. So what does love actually mean? That's the first thing to look at, because we have this notion of love, but we really never really look deeply at what it is. So I will define love for you here as a deep sense of embodied presence. And love is precision. Love is an awakening. So in the process of healing trauma, which creates separation, if you look at the world that we live in, we are all living in a world that's traumatized. It keeps us separate from each other. It keeps us in scarcity. It keeps us doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So so as a love story, it's really about connection, starting with our early connection with our caregivers and being able to grow through that. So, so when people are seen, that's love, and that's the thing that heals trauma. So it's both a spiritual and an evolutionary journey that we're on to discover wholeness. So our body wants to heal. It knows how to heal. If you cut your finger, there's a scab, it heals up, it closes. But that's true about your nervous system, your mind. Every part of our body is designed to heal. But before we can heal, we have to love the parts that we had suppressed in overwhelming situations that became lodged in the body. So the way we do that, I do private counseling, I do couples, but my favorite thing to do is to lead groups. So I lead groups for 4 to 6 months that 12 to 18 people come together. And because we were wounded in relationship, we create a safe space for people to witness and be related to each other. And in that, when someone says, yeah, this happened to me, then half the room will say, yeah, that happened to me too. We think we're the only one that had that wounding, but in fact, all of us have the kind of wounding that makes us feel separate, makes us feel scared, makes us feel like there's no one that sees me. All of these things are trauma symptoms. So it's love, really, that deep sense of seeing each other, seeing someone. When we feel seen, we feel loved. And when we feel loved, we're more able to deal with trauma and the impact of our trauma.
Very well said, Mr. Michael. Very well said. Beautifully articulated. How does trauma fracture identity, and what practices help survivors reclaim agency without bypassing pain?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, first of all, as I said, the fragmentation is an intelligence to protect ourselves, but the fragmentation leaves us with tension and numbness in the body that doesn't go away. It's like having your refrigerator plugged in. It's constantly tensing and numbing your body. So it's working all the time. It takes a lot of energy to do that. So the way that I work, I have a formula that sounds simple, but it's not simple. It's pretty intense. To integrate trauma. Integrating trauma means that it's no longer causing the tension in my body, the numbness in my body. It happened in the past, but it isn't still happening all the time. So the first part of that is what I call presencing. It's bringing ourselves into a state of presence, a state of groundedness, slowing down, softening, and looking inside the body to feel and sense into the movement in the body, the tension, and also the emotions. So that's the first step, is really getting grounded, getting in a state of presence, being able to slow down and soften. The second step that I work with people is witnessing. Witnessing is when we look deeper into the body, we raise the resolution. We not only feel the tension and the numbness, but we begin to look into the body, and it creates more space. When you have more space, you have more capacity to hold life. So by doing that and connecting with those numb parts and frozen parts, we relax and we soften. We're not trying to get rid of anything. We're trying to be with the thing that happened. That trauma is not about what happened. It's about what happened in us, which is very different. If it was what happened to us, you couldn't heal it. But it's not. It's our response to trauma. So when we talk about trauma, we're talking about a response. So we go from presencing to witnessing to embracing. And that's the most important part, is to say, I can love this anger. I can love this sadness. I can love this shame. I can love these parts of me. And as we do that, we don't have to do anything. It naturally integrates. So I always say, unhealed trauma, unintegrated trauma is destiny. In other words, if you don't integrate your trauma, you're going to have the same things happen over and over and over again. It's like taking the past and filing it in your future. So we presence, we witness, and we embrace, and that causes integration, and it creates more capacity for me to meet life and meet challenges. And right now in the world, with all the obstacles, every single thing that's happening in the world right now, climate change, war, enslavement, racism, you name it. They are all grounded in trauma because trauma separates us. The reason we can't handle any of these big issues is because we can't get along because we hold ourselves as separate. We don't recognize ourselves in another. So love is really about feeling myself, feeling you, feeling me, and the space between. Like you're sitting, I don't know what country you're in. Where are you, Daniel?
In Vancouver, British Columbia,
Oh, you're
Mr.
in
Michael.
Vancouver. Okay. Well, I used to live on the Sunshine Coast, so I know
Awesome.
exactly where you are. And
Awesome.
uh, I, and I, so the point is that we generally look at people and see people as out there, as distant. And that is, of course, you're in Vancouver, I'm over here. There's a distance between us. But in a very much more real sense, Daniel, you show up in my nervous system and I show up in yours. And so my capacity to know and to love you and for you to know and love me is the circumference of my capacity to feel you. And so that's a really important part of this is feeling myself, feeling you is what begins the healing process. And if we're traumatized, we hold ourselves separate. We look at people as two-dimensional. When we begin to be empathic, it goes to three-dimensional. Then I see, oh, Daniel's over there. He's asking me questions. I can answer those questions. That's three-dimensional. But in order to serve our healing of trauma, we have to move to a four-dimensional perspective. That means I see you, and I feel you in my body. I'm in my body. So I connect that way. So that's how we connect in a way that in relationship, we heal the trauma.
How do we build love networks when biological ties perpetuate harm, Mr. Michael?
Well, the truth is that we're already all connected, but it's a great question. We do need to do that, but it starts with our personal healing. We have to attune to what Jung called the shadow self, the part of us that we don't want to feel and we don't want to see, and we certainly don't want anyone else to see. So before we start networks, we have to do the internal healing. Then automatically, when we begin to see people in a healed place, that creates relationship, relating. It's not really relationship because that's a noun. It's relating. It's a verb. We're always doing it. So to create greater networks, we increase our capacity to hold life. Automatically, we create relatedness, and that builds networks. And then we build networks around the things that are really important to us, what we really care about. Maybe we care about climate change. Maybe we care about feeding children. Maybe we care about stopping war. Whatever it is that calls to us, when we're more in our body and more present, we automatically know what the next steps are. We don't have to look ahead. Purpose is something that's already built in. So when I'm following that purpose, I automatically am building healing networks just by who I'm being in the world.
Very well said, Mr. Michael. Beautifully articulated. And as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Say that again. I'm not clear what you just asked me. My short-term and long-term goals?
Yes, as an author, Mr. Michael.
Well, I wrote this book for my own healing, but I also wrote this book as a manual for healing the wounds that separate, alienate, and marginalize us. My intention, my life's purpose is to heal the wound. That is my purpose in life. And I'm very passionate about having people be trauma informed, trauma integrated, and create post-traumatic healing in the world. So my whole life is about that. uh, I have, I want to reach as many people. That's why I'm on all these podcasts. I want to reach as many people as possible. Hopefully, people will connect with me through my website, which is welloflight.com, WELLOFLIGHT.com. You can connect with me there. Sign up for my newsletter. It comes out every month. It's something to help people. Join some of the courses. I'm now courses are just finishing, so I'll start new ones in the fall. And I also am doing private counseling all the time as a trauma facilitator, integration facilitator, and therapist. So that's a way to work with me. So there are many ways that we can work together. And again, there are the groups that will start again in September, both online and in person. I also hold workshops on relational intimacy, on navigating fear, on different aspects of healing that I teach.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Michael. And as an author, what is your advice? A piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you and heal their trauma.
Well, being an author isn't necessarily going to heal your trauma, but actually being raw and real and honest, which this book is, and talks about, all the my own particular traumas. When you actually confront uh, your own inner demons, your own shadow parts, uh, that will give you an authentic, honest book, regardless of what you're doing, because it's emergent. It's coming from what's alive. If it comes from your head, it probably won't live for a very long time as a bestseller.
Yes, and thank you so much for your advice, Mr. Michael. And how does the book address disparities in trauma support access?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. How
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 does the
Tell me
book
again.
how does the book address disparities in trauma support access?
Well, that the whole book is about that. The whole book, every chapter has a healing. Every chapter hopefully has an inspirational story of dealing with trauma. The thing that people say the most to me about this book is I thought it was, because of the lot of how much trauma you've had. I thought it wouldn't be about me, but everything in this book applies to me, and I'm grateful that you have provided this. And I hear that when I speak. I hear it all the time. So when people get the book, and by the way, another thing is that next month anybody who buys the book will be eligible to join a free morning meditation, probably on Tuesday mornings, Pacific time, 8 o'clock, to do a meditation, a trauma-informed meditation, and also get advice and suggestions. So all you have to do is send me a copy of your receipt from Amazon or Banyan Books in Vancouver, wherever you got the book, and let me know, and you're automatically invited into the free uh, uh, morning meditation and coaching.
Good luck for that, Mr. Michael. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, and my abstract poetry in second season, and of course my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in the first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Michael, what one action invites readers into collective healing today?
Slow down, soften, and pay attention.
Mr. Michael Stone, thank you so much for sharing your empowering book to the world. Traumatized, a love story. And can you please invite our listeners to support your book as well as your advocacy to the world?
Yes, very much so. I definitely would love for you to get it. I think on Amazon it's on sale right now. And yeah, so just look up Traumatized, a Love Story by Michael Stone and get yourself a copy and get in touch with me and we'll share our stories together.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Michael Stone because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Danny. It's good to be with you.
More to come, people. See you soon.